out your packets.
Okay, it's gone.
Did you just do it on here? Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and take out your packets. If you didn't hear me before, I apologize to anyone that I did not get your parking pass to you on Monday. That was totally my fault. I misplaced them, then I found them through a frantic search. Not only take out your salmon packet, but go ahead and take out that vocab packet because I am going to go over a couple of those words. Does anyone have any questions about our first day? I just went through logistical things with you as you had kind of a day to think about everything I said. Okay, if you think of something, please feel free to email me. And if you came in a little bit after I said this, behind Carter there's a basket, and that's where I'm keeping everybody's parent signature letter. If you took that home and you had them sign that, if you could just drop it in that basket right now, that would be great as I'm talking. So I would like to just begin with the puzzle piece that you guys have sitting on your desk. So I would like you to have your vocab packet right next to the third page of your packet that you're going to work on. It's the last salmon page on that front side there. It says functionalism. It says structuralism. So I'm just going to walk around, make sure everybody's at that right page. I'm sorry, those page numbers are not, or I do not have these numbered. My fault. Okay. So you're going to quietly do the very first thing I'm going to ask you to do. So I'm not going to give you any instruction. I want you to fill out that first box with just some words with your puzzle piece. There's no right and there's no wrong. Okay. So I forgot to look at it. I keep forgetting to look at it. I gotta shut this music off. Yep. It definitely has a glare. I wonder if first hour, because I like my windows open. First hour, I just want to shut that baby, because I move so much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we'll see. Yep. Thanks for getting me started. I really appreciate it. I can hit pause. Okay. Okay. All right, you don't need to write complete sentences. This is just recording any type of example that I put down. And then what I want, it looks like everybody has something. Good. This is not going to be we're not doing this all day. We're just going to quickly do this because I wanted to do this yesterday. Now what I want you to do is to chat with the 6 people in your group that you're sitting, a little bit farther apart. And I want you to take that puzzle piece that you guys have. So if you are at home, everybody actually received a puzzle piece. And they all look a little different, so this would be something like they have in their desk right now. And what I want you to do is I want you to just chat. Like, I think I have this piece. It would go here, or I think this is a part of this. You're taking a wild guess, but you got to talk to each other right now about where you think your puzzle piece might fit into the overall picture. Go ahead. We don't want to spend too long on this. That's what it looks like. Everybody needs to share. So if you haven't spoke, you need to say something. You guys are done? Good. Done. Go ahead. Good? All right, here's your puzzle. This is the complete picture. Just take a quick look at it. You can pass it around. Try to figure out quickly, where do you think it fits? Now, if you can kind of fit it into the puzzle, like, oh, I think it's part of the sky. Mine's definitely a part of this animal, wherever you think it might fit. And go ahead and tell each other as you're talking, as you're looking. Mine's part of Spider-Man's face or whatever. Definitely. Somewhere on his body, right? You guys keep going. Now they're looking at the whole box. Kind of fit it in somewhere? You guys too? All right. Now, this has something to do with the first three words. So what I want to do now is you have that vocabulary chart, and we're going to fill those 3 blank spots that I left blank yesterday for you. When we take a look at the term structuralism and the definition that I put there for you, this was actually the first perspective, if you read last night, developed in psych. It was developed in the first psych lab. Did you see that I capitalized the word first? Yes? So, okay, this is a tip on how I teach. If I do capitalizations or bold, that means it's probably, you're going to see it again. What I would suggest, anytime you see that for your studying skills, circle, highlight, color code that thing, because when you guys are all done, it's just going to all mesh together. You want that word to stand out to you. Structuralism first. It was the very first psych lab. And what did it focus on? Underline this. It focuses on our conscious experience. So what I would write under that, you guys, is everybody following me, or am I going too fast? What I would write under conscious experience, what you feel, what you see, what you touch, what you hear. What am I describing there? All of your senses, right? So it's your conscious experience. When you took that puzzle piece, what did I say I wanted you to do? What do you see? What do you feel? Right? Okay, it's kind of sharp on the corner. It's got 4 corners. It's rounded on each side. Oh my gosh, there's a hole right here, right? So it's a connecting piece. So even though this has nothing to do with psych, this is going to be your real world example. So the real world example I'd like you to put down is, what was the structure of the puzzle piece? So what did it feel like, right? What did it, what was it, a corner piece? Was it an end piece? If I used the computer as an example for that, what would I say for a computer? Same thing. Somebody, go ahead. Hard. Yeah, like how's it feel? Like square. The keyboard, how does the keyboard feel? Stuff like that, okay? So I'd like to move now to, I'm going to come back to introspection, but I'd like to go to functionalism. That is, first of all, the important person, his name for structuralism is pronounced Wilhelm with a V. It's German, so it's Wilhelm Wundt is how you pronounce that, just in case. So functionalism is the historical perspective that replaced structuralism, and it focuses on your thoughts and behaviors and how you adapt to the environment. So what did we do with functionalism here, with the puzzle piece? We said, where does it fit in the overall puzzle? You took a guess, and you said, I'm pretty sure Mine is at the bottom, I heard somebody say, right? Where's the function of this piece? I also heard somebody say, mine I think is in the middle because it definitely doesn't have any sides. So what is the function? Now, if I used another example, if you don't like the puzzle example, and I go back to the computer, what would I say the function of the computer is? Hard drive, storing information, right? Stuff like that is what you could say. To calculate, maybe you might say that too. Our important person, William James, for that. All right, introspection. Definition, it's how they did structuralism, and that's how they described their conscious experience by saying what they felt and how they thought. So basically, when we did the puzzle, you guys were just describing to each other. This is what it was like. This is where I think it is. This is the color. I think it's a part of Spider-Man. I think it's a part of this animal. So that was your actual verbiage that you used. Anybody see any problems with the early forms of psych? You should. You should. Because there's not a lot of science to this. And the one thing I want you to remember is this class is based on science. In fact, in some courses in the nation, this high school class is actually in the science department. And you get a science credit. We were talking about science credits earlier. So when we think about science, is there a whole heck of a lot of science behind this is what this looks like, right? Not a whole lot. So that's where our founders started to say, if we want to have some credibility to this particular field, we have to do a little bit more, and we need to make sure it's observable. I want to compare, I'm going to wrap up these three terms, guys, back into the field of the mental health profession. Let's replace this puzzle piece with an emotion. My emotion is sadness. What would a structuralist say if I was sad? Remember what a structuralist is doing. They're just describing your raw senses. Anybody want to say? Crying face. Good. Keep going. I might be, like, my face might be blue? Oh, no. If I'm sad and you were a structuralist and you were my therapist, right? So we're kind of backing up. I'm trying to connect it to therapy now. How would you say, what the heck is going, I know you can't see my face, but if I had a sad face, what do you think, Christian? My voice lowers. Frowning, crying, we heard, red eyes, droopy, right? Like, you know something's wrong. If I walked in here and I was super sad, would you be able to tell just by looking at me? As I should be able to tell with some of you. Although we're kind of new with each other and we don't know each other, really well, I think some of those basic traits we could certainly tell. Do you understand why that's complicated if you were a therapist and you were just using introspection and structuralism? What does that tell you as the therapist? A whole lot? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. It's telling me you're sad, right? What would a functionalist say about my sadness? So this is my application piece, right? And you can feel free to write any of these examples down in that piece. What is a functionalist looking at as far as my sadness? Structuralist is looking at how I look. A functionalist is concerned about with what? Keep going. Say it again. Keep going. Say that again? Why? The why. If you came in crying, or if I came in crying, and you obviously could see someone in this class was clearly upset, wouldn't you want to know the why? Because the why is going to do what for us? Get us to, hopefully, a resolution. Right? It doesn't do me a whole heck of a lot of good if Jackson comes in here crying and I'm like, oh, I see you're sad today. Goodbye, Jackson. I don't care why, right? If I was his therapist, we need to dig and say, why are you? What's going on in your life? How do you feel about those first three terms? Better than maybe the book? Okay. That is it. That's all we're doing with the puzzle piece. Just keep it on your desk if you can for my next period. I want to move on to the activity we were supposed to start with today. That's where we were going to do this yesterday, but I knew those three terms can get kind of confusing. If you could turn your page to the first purple page on your packet, please. So it talks about the perspectives. My goal today is learning target B. I know we're running short on time. I'm going to get as far as we can, and we're going to pick it up tomorrow. So make sure you watch the video as where we left off. Learning target B is compare and contrast the psych perspectives. So you want to understand what are the psychological perspectives. I actually have 6 of them on the board. They're all listed on that purple sheet. I'm going to give each of you one of these perspectives. Everybody follow me so far? You're going to read that paragraph, not much. You're also going to use your phones if you want to, or any other sources you have. I don't know if any of you brought your books, and it's okay if you didn't, but I'd like you to take out your phone if that's going to be more helpful for you to get more information. What I want you to do is I want you to give us a very, very brief summary. And you can just write it anywhere on there. If you on the back, you might have a little bit of room. You could write it on the back of this orange salmon sheet. You get plenty of room on that side if you want. I would like you to give me a quick summary, not intensive, guys. Then I want you to pick out 2 to 3 buzzwords. I call them buzzwords all year. Buzzwords are like key important words. If you said Hempstead, what's a buzzword of Hempstead that you would be able to identify with Hempstead? I'd say green gold or a Mustang, right? So that's like something that you can identify with. And then if there's an important person listed, which most of them do, but not all, please put that important person down. Everybody understand what you need to do? Yes. Did you say what or where? Whatever perspective I assign to you. I'm going to tell you right now. So their perspectives are numbered on that purple sheet. You're going to read it. If that's not enough information in that one paragraph where you're like, I'm still kind of confused, feel free to use your phone. Make sense? Okay, so I'll walk over there in just a second. You'll do psychoanalytic. 2, so I'll just give you the number. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And we'll do the same thing over here. Randy, you'll start with 1. Gabe, 2, 3, 4. I'll start over. You're 1, 2, there's no 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so take a few minutes. I don't want an extensive period of time, but read what you can, and it should have been for your reading for today as well. There's no shame in pulling that phone out, too, if you're a little confused or you need a little bit of assistance. And then if you could just wrap up wherever you're at, kind of find a good stopping point. What I'm going to have you guys do now is you're going to find the partner that corresponds with the same particular school of thought that you have. So I want to back up for just a second. The learning target says compare and contrast the psych perspectives. That's the schools of thought. Psychologists often use those terms interchangeably. The psych perspectives, schools of thought, they're all different. So if I can just give you kind of a roadmap of why all 6 of these on the board could say something different about one human interaction and how they would diagnose somebody. What I want you to do is I want you to find your counterpart on the opposite side of the room, somebody that has the same as you do. Stand roughly 6 feet apart. You can use the hallway. You're not going to be out there very long. You can also use in here. And I just want you to compare your notes. So if somebody has something a little different than you, or they thought of something, you can add it to yours as well. Or if you're completely on 2 ends of the spectrum, like somebody has something that you're like, we aren't even close. Okay, maybe we need some clarification. You can ask me at the time. Okay, go ahead. Find your person. Just who's number 1, who's number 2. Yep, that's a good way to do it. Put those numbers up. You're going to have to stand up. You're going to get out of your seat. Stand apart from each other. Spread out, spread out. Stay safe. When we were young, when we were young. Good. Stay right where you're at. You're going to, without moving the desks, sit, and you can sit in the back, you can sit in the hallway, I don't care. How much time do we have left? Oh, we do. So you can get started. The next page, you and the partner that you just met are going to diagnose, so it's the second purple page, a guy by the name of Bluto. You should have his picture on that page. It's in front of the hand. It's a picture in front of. You two are going to say, hey, Bluto is a completely messed up guy, right? Bluto was from the Animal House. Bluto was a bazillion-year senior who never wanted to graduate, never wanted to leave. He was the ultimate partier, if you've ever seen this movie. You and your partner are now going to say, what would the humanist say what's wrong with this guy? Based on what you just did, and you're going to write your notes. down below. Don't take up that whole sheet. You have a lot of room, but you don't need that whole sheet. So find a separate area where you guys can sit and write. Just don't move any desk, but it doesn't matter. Wherever you guys want to just park it for 5 minutes or so. Can I just say something? This is extremely hard to do. This is extremely. What you're doing right now, almost every one of you are going to get this wrong. So this is really hard. So dig deep. You got to think like a psychologist now, even though none of us are. Yes? Yep, based on that school of thought, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Bluto. Is this your partner? You can just sit here. Grab a chair.
Okay.
I'll move his stuff for you. You a little confused? What's the why in his behavior? My only regret is I'm not going to hear your answers tomorrow. I'm hoping everybody at home is doing this. I'm hoping you chose one of the perspectives, and then that way you will have a particular perspective to actually answer what happened to Bluto. So I just want to repeat myself. Everyone at home needs to choose one of the 6 perspectives on this piece of paper, on that purple sheet, and then you are going to evaluate Bluto as according to that school of thought. Tomorrow we're going to go over the answers. I will go over the answers for B Day. You guys just listen along, and then see, and I'm going to correct them as they go through it. So then you can correct yourself too. That's it for the day. I think the bell, kind of wrap up. I think you have another minute or so, but if you are still writing or chatting, you have some time. And signing off. Have a great day, everybody.